After a late night on Friday at the World Finals in which Jimmy Owens didn't even make the starting field, the Newport, Tennessee driver told me he just had a hunch he was going to be a lot better on Saturday. Turns out that was an understatement.
The Newport Nightmare!
Starting 8th, and like he's done so many times this year, Owens drove a smooth, steady line around the bottom of the racetrack, battling and ultimately taking the lead from Shannon Babb on lap 34. The Newport Nightmare drove away from the field, picking up only 10 grand, but on a national television audience in front of 17,000 people, it was one of his biggest career victories.
It's pretty awesome. You know, we got a big crowd back home that was watching, and you know, probably have never won in front of this many people, and it's pretty amazing.
The biggest crowd in World Finals history witnessed Owens put on a driving clinic, and while Josh Richards was busy collecting his $100,000 Outlaw Championship check that we have more on in a breakout story, Owens was the man of the hour in the race itself. At the start, it was Babb, who'd been having a horrible weekend, who jumped out and set the early pace on his preferred Highline. He established a steady front as it looked early like he might have the best race car.
We kind of went with the traditional tire that's won all the races here and just thought we'd be all right and make sure that nobody else went outside the box. And there was a few of them that did. You know, they went out and gambled a little bit, went hard, and it paid off for them. The track was a little bit harder tonight, and it was really good at the end.
Quickly, though, third starting Tim McCreadie began challenging Babb on the bottom of the racetrack, making inroads a couple of times, only to open the door to Owens, who was in the mix by the halfway point and was wanting to waste no time getting to the lead.
We started off the night, and, you know, the main goal, the car fired off good. And, you know, it was just all about getting to the front as quick as possible, because I know somewhere along the lines the track was probably going to lock down and rubber up and get one lane, and it sure enough did. You know, about the time we got in front, a few laps later, it kind of started favoring the bottom a little bit, and by then we done made it to the lead.
Owens slid past McCreadie for second on lap 24 and was all over Babb shortly thereafter. The two raced side by side for a number of circuits before Babb finally gave way.
You know, it's great to get to race with guys like Shannon and Tim McCreadie. We all had a good battle, and, you know, the traffic, it made a great race, and you know, I just kept the car under me, kept my head on my shoulders, because I know we had a good car, and maybe if we could keep Shannon on the high side, we could eventually roll around him. You know, my car was very maneuverable, and it looked like Shannon couldn't run the bottom near as good as me without pushing across the center. So I kept wanting him to move down a little bit, because every time he did, he'd push off the corner, and then I'd give me a little more ground on him.
I was just trying to stay up and rolling and be easy on my tires, and there was no doubt about it. Jimmy was just on the right stuff tonight, and he was able to stay in the correct groove and make it the best laps you can make.
As Owens was pulling away, McCreadie was holding tight in second, while Earl Pearson Jr. made a rare appearance on the top side of the racetrack to rally for third.
Did you think you had a good car, Jimmy, tonight, I guess?
I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. I never really saw him until he showed up beside me, and with his tire choice and my tire choice, he was just a tick harder, and I thought about putting them tires on, and I kind of talked myself out of it, but it was fun racing. I mean, it's been a struggle. I have struggled, and people probably don't think I have, but we have struggled as a race team for 2 months now, and once you get that taste of winning like we did last year, it's hard to run 6th and 7th and take it. So it's been hard around the shop, and to be able to race Shannon Babb, I love racing, and for, you know, Jimmy come along, I got to race with him too, and racing heavy traffic and just mix it up. It's the way I like to end the season. I'm happy.
Well, the first lap I went up there high, you know, and I guess they wet the racetrack before we started and got in that slime and couldn't turn, and they fell back to 10th, I guess what it was. But, you know, I had hard tires on, so I know I couldn't stay in the bottom, you know. So after that last caution, I figured if I'm going to make anything happen, I got to get up here and do something. So I got it all the way up against the wall, and luckily it worked out for us. It got pretty hairy coming off turn 2 with Shannon Babb and Lanigan and all that. But, I mean, we had a lot of fun all weekend. We had a real good car last night. Broke a fan blade, went through the radiator, so we're tickled to death with this.
For Owens, he's no doubt had bigger career crown jewel victories in his racing lifetime. The World 100, the Dream, and the Topless, to name a few. But the magnitude of this win was not lost on him, or what it means as he heads into the 2009 offseason.
We'd actually thought about going to Gaffney, and we also said if we won this race, we was probably going to end on a good note.
So is this it then?
I'm not real sure. We'll just sit home and kind of ponder on it a little bit and decide about Tuesday.
From the final night of the World Finals in Concord, North Carolina, this is Michael Rigsby for DirtOnDirt.com.